Dear students, welcome to 2nd PU Physics class. This is part 6 video of electric charges and fields. Torque on an electric dipole in uniform electric field. In diagram, let minus q and plus q are 2 point charges of the dipole. 2a is dipole length, that is distance between 2 point charges of the dipole. P is dipole moment, it is directed from minus q to plus q. Okay, the arrow mark is shown in diagram. Let electric dipole placed in uniform external electric field such that dipole makes an angle with the direction of electric field. Now, force acting on charge plus q can be written as F equal to plus q into E, that is along E. Okay, as you know, electric field intensity E equal to force by charge. Hence, force equal to charge into electric field intensity. Okay, in diagram it is shown by this one. Okay, it is positive charge, hence the force is acting along the direction of electric field. Next, force acting on charge minus q is F equal to minus q into E is acting opposite to E. In diagram, this one. So here minus q is negative charge, hence the force is acting in downward direction or opposite to the applied electric field. Okay, these two forces constitutes couple and dipole experiences torque. Now, torque can be written as magnitude of either force and perpendicular distance between forces. Okay, here magnitude of either force, that is QE. Okay, and perpendicular distance between two forces, it is also known as arm of the couple. Okay, in this diagram here, so these two forces constitute couple, then the arm of the couple is AC, or AC is perpendicular distance between these two forces. Okay, hence here expression is AC. Now, in triangle ABC, sin theta equal to AC by AB. Here consider in triangle ABC, this is right angle triangle, sin theta equal to opposite side by hypotenuse, that is AC by AB. AC by AB. AC by AB. AC equal to AB into sin theta, where AB is distance between 2 point charges, that is equal to 2a or dipole length. Hence AC equal to what? 2a sin theta. Substitute here, then we get tau equal to QE into AB sin theta equal to QE into 2a sin theta. Now rearranging the terms, Q into 2a into E sin theta. Here Q into 2a can be written as dipole moment P. We know dipole moment P equal to Q into 2a. Okay, hence tau equal to PE sin theta. In vector form, vector tau equal to vector product of P and E. Okay, now consider cases. And also this is important for 3 mark question. Case 1, when P is along E, means dipole moment is acting along the direction of electric field. If suppose if you consider, so this is direction of electric field E. Okay, then the momentum is acting along P, means this is direction of P. Then theta equal to 0, tau equal to PE sin 0 degree, sin 0 degree equal to 0, hence PE into 0 equal to 0. So tau equal to 0. In this state, the dipole is said to be in stable equilibrium. Next, case 2. When P is opposite to E, then theta equal to 180 degree. Means, if you consider, this is direction of the electric field E. So opposite to P means in this direction the dipole moment is acting. Then angle between electric field and dipole moment is equal to 180 degree. Now tau equal to P into sin 180 degree. Again sin 180 degree equal to 0. So P into 0 equal to 0. Now the dipole is said to be in unstable equilibrium. Okay. Now case 3, when P is perpendicular to E. So this is direction of electric field and momentum is dipole moment is acting perpendicular or normal to the applied electric field. Now theta equal to 90 degree. Now tau equal to PE sin 90 degree. Sin 90 degree equal to 1. So P into 1 equal to PE. This is maximum value of torque. Okay. From these three cases, we can conclude that when dipole align perpendicular to direction of electric field, it will experiences maximum torque. Suppose it aligns along the direction of electric field, then torque will be 0. Okay. Next, electric flux. It is measure of number of electric field lines crossing given area. Okay. So consider this diagram. So this is area delta S. Okay. We are considering a small element whose area is delta S. And n cap is unit vector drawn normal to the area element. Okay. This parallel lines represents the uniform electric field E. Okay. Now here the electric flux is measure of number of electric field lines crossing the small area element. Okay. Now we place small element of area normal to the electric field, means perpendicular to the electric field, then number of electric field lines crossing this area element is proportional to E into delta S. Okay, E is electric field intensity and delta S is area of that element. Okay, here in first diagram, electric flux is proportional to E into delta S, because here area is normal to the direction of electric field lines. Okay. Next, suppose the element is tilted by angle, then number of electric field lines crossing that element is proportional to E delta S cos theta, where theta is angle between E and delta S. Okay, or it is angle between electric field line and the unit vector drawn to area element. So this angle is theta. Okay, here angle theta is what? It is angle between the electric field line and the unit vector normal to the small area element delta S. Okay. Suppose, so this area element is parallel to the electric field lines. So then what happens? Then no electric field line crosses this area. Okay, right. Now, electric flux through area element delta S in electric field E is delta pi equal to, here electric flux is represented by pi. So we are considering the electric flux through small element delta S. Hence delta pi equal to vector product of E and delta S, which is equal to E delta S cos theta equal to delta S into E cos theta. Okay, note here E cos theta is component of E normal to the area element. Here if we resolve the electric field vector into two components E sin theta and E cos theta, then E cos theta will be the component normal to the area element. Okay, and here delta S is also vector quantity. Here we written vector E dot vector delta S. Okay, so delta S is also vector quantity. It can be written like this: area vector delta S equal to delta S into n cap, where delta S is magnitude of area element and n cap is unit vector normal to area element, unit vector perpendicular to area element. Okay, in this diagram you can observe. So we are considering a surface, a closed surface, this one. Okay, in that surface, so we consider a small area element delta S. Okay, and here n cap is the vector is the unit vector perpendicular to this area element. Then vector delta S can be written as delta S into n cap. Okay, now total electric flux through any surface. So this is expression for electric flux through small area element. This is the total electric flux through whole surface. Then pi E equal to surface integral, or it is the integral of closed surface, surface integral of vector E dot vector delta S equal to EdS cos theta. Okay, remember these expressions. Now, so electric flux is scalar quantity. We know electric flux is vector product of two vectors, vector E and vector delta S. Okay, right. Now the unit of electric flux is equal to unit of E into unit of S. Unit of electric field intensity is Newton per Coulomb, and unit of S means unit of area, that is meter square, hence Newton meter square per Coulomb. Now you can write dimensional formula for it. According to these units, Newton is unit of force, dimensional formula of the force is m raised to 1, L raised to 1, T raised to minus 2. Meter square is unit of area, dimension formula of area is L square, and per Coulomb is unit of or here Coulomb is unit of electric charge, hence here per Coulomb is there, so AT raised to minus 1. On simplifying we will get m raised to 1, L raised to 3, T raised to minus 3 and A raised to minus 1. Okay, remember these things also. Now Gauss law. Total electric flux over a closed surface in vacuum or free space is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times total charge enclosed by the surface. Okay. Here you may consider this diagram. Here it is the closed surface in vacuum or free space. Okay. Then here it is the electric field intensity. So we are considering a small area element ds, small area element ds at a point to P. N cap is unit vector normal to that area element. Okay. And plus q is charge enclosed by this closed surface. Okay. Then according to statement we can write the electric flux through closed surface pi e, electric flux through closed surface can be written as 1 by epsilon naught times 1 by epsilon naught times total charge enclosed by the surface, that is pi e equal to q divided by epsilon naught. Okay. So in this diagram I mentioned small q, so you make here the correction maybe small q. Okay. Q by epsilon naught, right? And here pi e can be written as surface integral of vector e dot vector ds. Okay, got the point. Here epsilon naught is permittivity of the free space. Next, now consider the another example. Here we are considering a closed surface S. So encloses 4 point charges plus q1 minus q2 plus q3 and minus q4. Then the total charge enclosed is q equal to, charge is additive in nature. Yes, hence q1 minus q2 plus q3 minus q4. Will you agree? Now total electric flux through this closed surface S can be written as pi equal to 1 by epsilon naught into total charge enclosed, that is q1 minus q2 plus q3 minus q4. Okay. Now the total electric flux through closed surface is 0. Here the magnitude of these charges are same, then the total electric flux through closed surface is 0. Okay. Here the charge inside may be point charges or even continuous charge distribution. Okay. There is no contribution to total electric flux from the charges outside the S. Means suppose the charge plus q5 is placed the outside the surface, then it does not give any contribution to electric flux. Okay. So we may consider only the total charge enclosed by the surface. Okay. Here the charge residing outside the surface should not be considered. Okay. Next, Gaussian surface. It is an imaginary closed surface containing charged body where Gauss law is applied. Okay. So Gaussian surface means it is the imaginary surface containing charged body where Gauss law is applied. Okay. Now Gauss law is applicable for any closed surface, charge inside Gaussian surface, for symmetric charge distribution. Okay. Next, a continuous charge distribution. We know that charge can exist only as integral multiple of basic unit of charge, that is E. Yes. So Q equal to, generally we will write Q equal to plus or minus Ne. Yes, okay. The charge can exist only as integral multiple of basic unit of charge E. So hence charge distribution is always discrete. Okay. But we need to work with the continuous charge distribution. For example, on surface of charged conductor, we can't specify charge distribution in terms of discrete charges. Okay, then we will consider small area element and specify charge on that element. On this basis, the distribution of charge is expressed in terms of three charge densities. These are as follows. Okay, the first one is linear charge density. So linear charge density is denoted by lambda. Is denoted by lambda. Okay, is equal to lambda. Linear charge density lambda equal to dq by dl. dq by dl means it is charge per unit length of a wire. Okay, and its unit is coulomb per meter. Okay, coulomb per meter. dq is measured in coulomb, dl is measured in meter, so unit is coulomb per meter. Coulomb per meter. Next, second one, surface charge density. It is denoted by sigma. Sigma equal to dq by ds. Here we will consider surface or area of the conductor. Okay, sigma equal to dq by ds. It defined as it is charge per unit area of the conductor. Okay, and the SI unit of surface charge density is coulomb per meter square. Coulomb per meter square. Next, third one is volume charge density. Here we will consider the volume of the conductor. Hence, it is denoted as rho. Rho equal to dq by dv. Okay. So dv is the small volume element. So dq is the charge distributed in that small volume element. So rho equal to dq by dv. So it is defined as it is charge per unit volume of the conductor, and its unit is coulomb per meter cube. Coulomb per meter cube. Okay. So remember this expression. Next, the applications of Gauss law. First one, to find electric field due to uniformly charged infinite long straight wire. Second one, due to the uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. And third one, uniformly charged spherical shell. So these three are important. There are three derivations to get the expression for electric field. So let us discuss one by one. First one, to find electric field due to uniformly charged infinite long straight wire. Okay. So for that, here consider a uniformly charged infinite long straight wire with linear charge density lambda. As mentioned earlier, linear charge density is denoted by lambda. Here we are considering the wire, straight wire. So here the charge density is linear charge density lambda. Okay. Now point P is a point at a distance r from the wire. Okay. Here point P is what? Here we are considering a small element or small area element, okay, at which point P is considered, and n cap is the unit vector normal to this area element. Okay, right? And here E is the electric field intensity. So this is the uniformly here the straight wire contains positive charges, hence the electric field intensity is outward in direction. Okay, right. Now imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface. I explained earlier slide, that is Gaussian surface is imaginary surface containing charged body where Gauss law is applied. Yes, here also, here, so this is the, just imagine the cylindrical Gaussian surface with the radius r and length L. Okay. Now Q be the total charge enclosed by Gaussian surface. Now pi 1, pi 2 and pi 3. So what are those? Here in this cylindrical Gaussian surface there are three surfaces. Two circular cross sections 1 and 2, and the another one is the curved surface 3. So you have to calculate the electric flux through these three surfaces. Okay, surface 1, surface 2 and surface 3. Got the point? Okay. Now pi 1 and pi 2 are electric flux through a 1 and 2 circular cross section of the Gaussian surface, and pi 3 is electric flux through the curved surface 3. Okay. Here pi 1 equal to pi 2, pi 1 equal to pi 2 equal to, expression is E delta S cos theta. Yes. Here what is the value of cos theta? Here theta is angle between the electric field E and the unit vector normal to the Gaussian surface. Here for okay, here for first surface, so this is the direction of n cap, and for second surface this is the direction of n cap. Got the point? Okay. Now here angle between, for these two surfaces, angle between vector E and vector n cap is 90 degree. Will you agree? Is 90 degree. So E delta S cos 90 degree. Cos 90 degree equal to 0. Hence E delta S into 0 equal to 0. Hence electric flux through these two circular cross sections is 0. Got the point? Okay. Now net electric flux through Gaussian surface equal to pi 1 plus pi 2 plus pi 3. Here pi 1 and pi 2 equal to 0. Hence only we left with pi 3. So pi 3 equal to E delta S cos theta. Again here cos theta, theta equal to how much? 0 degree. Okay. In curved surface theta equal to 0 degree. Here this one. So this is the curved surface. Here both vector E and vector n or the unit vector n are along the same direction. Hence theta equal to 0 degree. Okay. So cos 0 equal to 1. Hence E delta S into 1 equal to E into delta S. Pi equal to E delta S, which is equal to, here delta S is area of the curved surface, can be written as 2 pi into RL. 2 pi RL, where R is the radius of that curved surface and L is length of that curved surface. Okay. According to Gauss law, pi equal to q by epsilon naught, which is equal to q equal to lambda L. Okay, we know the linear charge density lambda equal to q by L. Will you agree? Yes, there we mentioned lambda equal to dq by dl, dq by dl, or we may write lambda equal to q by L, hence q equal to lambda L. Okay, equation 2. Now equate equation 1 and equation 2. So both are expression for electric flux. Hence E into 2 pi RL into lambda L divided by epsilon naught. Here L and L getting cancelled. E equal to 1 by 2 pi epsilon naught lambda divided by R. So this is final expression. It is what? Electric field due to uniformly charged infinitely long straight wire. In vector form we can write vector E equal to 1 by 2 pi epsilon naught lambda by R into n cap, where n cap is unit vector normal to curved surface of the wire. Okay, it is important for 5 mark. So the later two applications can be discussed in upcoming classes. Thank you.